Hello everyone, my name is Birendra. I'm heading the short mains and mentoring program in Vajiram and Ravi. Today with me, Shoaib sir is there. Shoaib sir is an IRS officer from 2023 batch. And today in this video, we are going to talk about the roadmap for next 3 months. As many of you already know that we have launched a new program that is Mains Camp for 2026 batch, and this is a batch 1 in which we are going to cover every aspect as far as the entire mains preparation is concerned. But still, many students have many doubts. So in this video, I'm going to clear all the doubts related to the answer writing, related to the notes making, and the other components which we are going to include in this program. So in my first video, what we have seen that what are the important features of the mains camp. For example, daily micro topic wise answer writing in which 5 questions will be provided to you, and it will be a live answer writing program. Then there will be a live test discussions, and I said it's not a test discussion, but it's a brainstorming session, right? So brainstorming sessions are going to be there live by rankers and subject matter experts. There will be evaluation, right? And then one-to-one mentorship. So these are the 4 most important components which we talked about in the previous video. But there is one very common question which many students, many of you have been asking, sir, what about the notes making? Because many of you might not have any notes prepared as far as the mains is concerned, right? Many students have the notes they have prepared long time back during their foundation classes, which needs to be updated, right, as per the new trend of or the current affairs.
So just one thing I would like to add.
Yeah,
that,
sure.
You talked about, when we were talking earlier, you talked about that short templates
Yes.
of note making. If you can elaborate, I think people will understand more about how these sessions are.
Yes. So basically, in this session, we are not going to help you in the notes which you guys have been preparing, not those kind of notes, but these notes are going to be the template based notes or the framework based
Right,
notes. Framework based notes, uska advantage kya hota hai? If you will start preparing the framework based notes, you can directly use it in your answer, and it saves a lot of time, right?
And it can be applied to multiple questions. If you attempt one question in that same framework, it can be applied to a lot of other questions.
Yes.
On a similar line.
Yes. So we are going to see, we have picked up one topic, that is investment model, and where we have basically identified the themes and the various framework, the template, and then you will be surprised to see how just one template can be used at multiple places. So let any question asked by UPSC on investment models, you can use the templates, right? So that is the main focus of this discussion, where we will be dealing with the help of previous year's questions, and we will see how we can decode the entire syllabus, because the entire syllabus we are going to focus in this, right? Starting from GS paper 1 to GS paper 4. So these are some important components. Now the doubts, specific doubts which I was talking about, the notes making. Many students have raised the doubts over notes making because they don't have the notes. Right. Now, my friends, as far as the notes are concerned, there are 2 types of notes. One are active notes and one are passive notes. Passive notes are those which you already have prepared when you was doing the foundation classes and all, right? But you need to make sure that your notes are active. What exactly is the active notes? So, I think Shoaib sir will explain. Shoaib, what do you think? What are the active notes?
Sir, I think that another point I would like to first add in the passive notes is, whenever we pick up any material which is out there, then that is also passive note making only.
Right.
Because you're directly.
You mean you're talking about the PDF, the online videos and all?
Yes, mostly it's passive note making, because you're reading everything.
Right.
You're not seeing whether that can be actually applicable in any of the answers that you're actually going to write.
That is one of the major problem. Many students have shown me their notes, and they have a very bulky notes.
Right, sir.
But when it comes to the answer writing, they are not able to write it, right? So I think that is one of the limitation of the passive notes.
Right, sir.
Because the passive notes are, I think, more theoretical in the nature. It is good for conceptual clarity, understanding. But I think as far as the application based questions are concerned, you need to have active notes, right?
So active note, I think, is the kind of notes when you write an answer, you see what you need in an answer.
Right.
For example, you need that particular data, particular dimensions, particular arguments to justify any argument that you're writing. That actually helps you bringing out the things that you actually require, and that is basically active note making. That what you're requiring, you're only adding that part, and you're actually seeing what can be written in an exam, not just actually looking at a topic, what are the dimensions, that only, but actually seeing what can be written in an actual exam.
And that can be done only through, I guess, there is only one most authentic source, and that is a previous year's question.
Right, sir.
Right. So, yes. So, active notes, very correct definition, and the concept which Shoaib sir has explained. So, active notes basically are based on the previous year's question. So, in this mains camp, what we are going to do, we are going to brainstorm the previous year's question for all the paper, for all the topics. How this will be done, we are going to see. I have picked up one topic, like I have said, investment models. So basically, how in mains camp we are going to help you, and like I have said that rankers are going to be the part of that program. Shoaib sir is there, other rankers are also there. So basically, we will be conducting the live classes on Zoom, where we will be brainstorming the previous year's questions. And based on the brainstorming of the previous year's questions, we are going to provide you two things. The first is basically the themes, right? And the second part is going to be the framework, right? Themes means, for example, there is a topic like PDS system, right? Public distribution system. So in PDS, after going through the previous year's questions, you will find common themes, right? They will be talking about, for example, the significance of PDS as far as the food security is concerned, as far as the nutritional security is concerned, right? As far as the climate change is concerned, right? As far as environment is concerned, right? So these are the themes. So these themes are nothing but we will help you to extract these themes live through with the help of previous year's questions.
And so just one thing, that these themes will be, I think, should be analyzed through PYQs.
Yes.
Because that will help you to see what kind of themes which are repeating in PYQs. So you can actually predict what can be asked.
So it is not only about the identification of themes, because guys, when we go through the previous year's questions, these themes also reveal how the nature of question is changing.
Right, sir.
Right. How the topic is evolving in the nature. Because if you are not able to identify, if you will not be able to identify how the topics are evolving, it is very difficult to predict what will be the probable topics for 2026 mains.
Right.
Right. So the previous year's questions are very, very important, and most important is the brainstorming. So we are going to include this brainstorming session for each and every topic for entire syllabus, and it will be conducted on Saturday and Sundays. So, and it is going to be lengthy classes, because we have to make sure that you are mains ready in next 100 days. So we are dedicated, we are going to put a lot of hard work, but at the same time, we want your dedication, the discipline, everything, right? So this is the theme. This is the first part you will understand when you will be attending the live previous year's question brainstorming session. Once the themes are done, then we will see how the framework can be applied to generate the point, Now, many students, they are able to identify the themes, right? But as far as the framework is concerned, they are relying on just one-pager notes. Because now market mein aajkal chal raha hai one-pager note. Just tell me, I want the answer of this question with full honesty, right? How many of you have seen the one-pager note and you are able to write a good answer? The answer is, many students, they have raised this doubt that instead of having the one-pager note, they are not able to use it in their answer.
So another point I would like to raise is that when you pick up one-pager note, you don't have the understanding of a topic.
Exactly.
You just see whatever is written, which are the dimensions which are written, but you are not able to connect it. So whenever there is a complex question, whenever there is a question in which you have linkage of another topic,
right,
it becomes very difficult for somebody to write. what I see in most of the answers is just people copy paste one pager note from whatever material they have.
Right.
So instead of answering the question, they are just copy pasting one pager. That becomes an issue because you're not addressing the demand of the question.
Yes, yes. So basically, if you are referring the one pager notes, short notes, basically, I think आप अपनी observation skill जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं उससे compromise कर रहे हो. And you all know that since the UPSC has started asking the very open-ended question, observation skill is very, very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to develop that kind of skill to generate the point right then and there. As soon as you see the question, see there are many questions in 2025 mains and which are very open-ended, and I'm sure many few students would have the notes on all these topics, right? So if you have to address the demand of those questions, you need that particular skill, and in this session we are going to help you to develop that skill. So the framework, अब framework क्या होता है, I will explain with the help of the previous year's question, right? So these are the notes making activity, and it will continue for next 100 days, in which we will make sure that your mains entire syllabus is completed. Starting from the notes making, previous year's questions, brainstorming, and then the main component you have already seen through the live answer writing session and discussion, everything, right? So, okay. Now, the next part, which is extremely important, this productivity graph. And trust me, my friend, once you will understand what this productivity graph reveals, your journey is going to be very easy. आपके अंदर का जो डर है ना वो निकल जाएगा कि यार इतना बड़ा सिलेबस है, right? Because many students ask me, sir, we have just hardly 3 months to prepare for the mains. So what we should be doing, like what all topics should we refer? But before that, I would request all of you to understand what this productivity graph is. Shoaib sir is going to explain, because Shoaib sir used this productivity graph to identify important topics and all. And even there is one of my student, Rahul Shekhar, he secured 242 rank last year in 2024. So he has talked about this productivity graph. That video is still available on YouTube when I was doing a podcast and webinar. So even he showed me, sir, I used to maintain this productivity graph. So Shoaib sir will explain what this productivity graph is all about. So Shoaib, please.
Sir, first I would say that it is used by many toppers. Once you understand that you have to focus on a particular things, you can't focus on entire things.
Yes, yes.
Then you realize this and you go on.
Yeah, Rahul Shekhar, he was he was actually an IAS officer also, right?
Right,
so he explained me, sir, I do not have like 9 months, right, only for the UPSC. I study only for 3 months after the prelims as far as the mains is concerned, and 3 months before the prelims. I cannot devote more number of months into this preparation. So then I asked, then what was that formula which you have used to clear the exam? Like 242 rank is a very good rank, right? As far as your second attempt is concerned. So then he explained me, sir, I always used to have this productivity graph for each and every subject.
Right.
So we will see what this productivity graph is all about.
First, I'll mark the things that. So the productivity graph is basically that you have to see that there are certain topics which comprise 50% of the whole syllabus, but they actually give you 80% of the productivity. So if you cover 50% of the themes, topics thoroughly, then you'll be able to cover you'll be able to answer most of the answers.
Yes.
80% of the answers. So there you have to be smart enough that you have to pick up themes which are repetitive. You have to make notes on them, and it makes your answers very much precise and high output based.
Right.
So in that case, you can focus, like for example, there is repeated themes like FPI, food processing industries.
Right.
It is just one topic. If you cover it thoroughly, it takes one page. You cover it thoroughly and you'll be able to answer it.
Yes. And almost every year we find this
Yes.
question from the food processing industry. Yes.
So it becomes very easy. So that's the productivity, that of targeting 50%, you can get out 80 to 90% of the productivity. And this is mostly dynamic. So
Yes.
you can go through it, but don't spend too much time on it.
Yes.
So you can also, for example, current affair based questions,
Yes.
and then linkage question, which are difficult to answer, but you can actually read the topics and you'll be able to answer it.
Yes.
And the last 20%, I would say, just skim through it.
Yes.
Don't skip it, but it is very dynamic.
I think that can be covered after when
Yes.
you have the time. Yes, world history hai.
Yes,
Like
sir.
you don't have to spend like couple of weeks, right? So that will come under the 20% rule, right?
And sir, also I would say that it can be prepared at last because it changes a lot.
Yes.
There are those themes. For example, world history, if the Israel-Palestine issue warms up after the prelims,
yes.
then there are more chances there will be question on that.
Yes.
So I think that way you can skim through at the end, and this you can prepare, but don't go into detail. This portion, this 80-90%, 50% productivity has to be very precise. You should have notes, you should have data, you should have everything, frameworks, so that you don't have to spend more time on it after mains.
Yes.
Everything is just ready.
Right.
That is, sir, 50-30-20 rule according to me.
Okay. And what I think, Shoaib, most of the student, see, my friend, you need to understand this. How much time you are or how much effort you are putting to achieve the 80% productivity, the same amount of effort you need to put just to increase your productivity by 20%. So what I would say, rather than completely leaving it, you can skim through it, right? And it can be done after the prelims also. But problem क्या हो रही है, हम लोग focus यहाँ equal time distribute कर रहे हैं, right? To achieve the 80% of productivity and to achieve the next 20% of the productivity, we are investing the same amount of time and energy. So why to waste your energy just to increase your productivity by 20% at this? Because this next 3 months are going to be very, very crucial. So the idea is, we will help you to identify how to achieve 80% productivity in next 3 months. And I think it can be done only through brainstorming the previous year's question. Otherwise, we all know that there is a hell lot of material available in the market, lot of videos available in the market on YouTube, right? And many of you are already confused what to refer, how to refer. So we will help you to streamline your entire preparation. We will help you to achieve this 80% productivity in next 3 months, right? And this will be done with the help of previous year's question, right? I hope this is clear. Anything you want to add, Shoaib?
So just I would say that if the productivity is 20%, then give only 20% of the time. And that can be taken out after prelims also. So entire focus should be on that 80% productivity.
हाँ, so focus on that productivity की 20% productivity आने वाली है उन topics पे, तो why to spend more than 20% of the time?
Right, sir.
Right. So that is very true. Okay. So now we will see, these are some prerequisites of the good answer writing. That is 1-pager note, demand, structure, value addition, culture, current affair, and presentation.
So just I would like to add one thing. That start with the demand. This is the most important part. If you see a question, you focus on demand. And then you start focusing on structure.
Right.
And presentation and other things. First, focus on demand. For demand, you need structure. Then you make the structure, you have 1-pager notes, you have value addition, you'll be able to fit whatever you have read in that structure.
Right.
And then comes the presentation part, so it will be very visible to the answer, to the examiner, whatever you have written.
Right.
And then current affair tinge adds up that you are well read.
Right.
You are also aware what is actually going on in the current dynamics.
Right.
This is the way these all demands should be met.
Right. Right. So basically that is what I discuss in one-to-one session, that one of the most important part or element in the answer writing is the visibility. Right. Because I know many topics are very probable topics, right? जितना आपके पास content होगा, same amount of content मेरे पास भी होगा. Right. If you are writing 5 point under one demand, I will also be writing the 5 points, and almost 3 to 4 points will remain common. But examiner will give you extra marks if your points are more visible. Now the question is, what is the visibility? You need to understand one thing, my friend. When the examiner are going to evaluate your copy, they are not going to read your answers horizontally. They read it vertically. So if you do not have a proper framework, the template, your answers are going to be less visible. And the framework and the template, I am going to show you what does it mean and how to think about it. That is the important part, because in this, because all these components, we will make sure that you are well prepared in next 3 months, in next 100 days. So this is all this one pager note, structure, value addition, current affair linking with the PYQ analysis, presentation, demand, everything is a part of our mains camp program, right? So before we jump on the framework, Shoaib sir will explain how the discussions are going to be conducted. I'm not talking about the post-test discussions. I'm talking about the weekly sessions which will help you to prepare the notes, the framework, the templates. So Shoaib sir will explain how we are going to analyze the previous year's questions, because many students, I think they find it very difficult as when it comes to the analysis of previous year's questions. आपने देखा होगा शोएब कि वो बस देख लेते हैं previous years. I think आपने भी शायद starting में initial phase में यही किया होगा. They just read it very literally कि adoption of PPP model for infrastructure development of the country has not been free of criticism. Critically discuss pros and cons. अब यहाँ पे मुझे दिख रहा है कि pros and cons. So many students they just start assuming कि अच्छा pros and cons of PPP model, we know that. But this is not what I want you to think. What we want all of you from all of you is to develop the skill to generate any framework. Is there any framework coming in your mind before even you start with the content? Is there any framework are you thinking? So that is what I will discuss. But before that, Shoaib sir will explain. Shoaib sir, how we are going to analyze the previous year's questions in the live session. What all aspects do you think the previous year's questions help us to understand as far as the entire mains preparation is concerned?
Sir, I think that first I'll talk about the mistakes that people mostly make. Whenever you read a question, you think this is a PPP model question. I have read PPP model, so I'll be able to answer it. And then you see pros, cons, that's it. That's the overall analysis.
Right.
But you have to go beyond that. You have to see what is exactly asked in the question, what are the sub-themes, and if you can make a model out of it. You can make a framework and you can do brainstorming so that if a similar question can be asked on PPP, then you can be able to answer it.
So basically you're talking about the themes,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Themes.
So I'll talk about the themes. For example, in this is a very fairly simple question. Adoption of PPP model for infrastructure development of the country has not been free of criticism. So the context is that there has been some criticism about the PPP
model. Yes.
So that context should be there.
Right.
When you're writing an answer, that context should be explained.
Yes, introduction mein we have, because this is not the core demand of the question. This is a non-core, and
sir.
Many students will skip this part.
Yes,
they will just use two subheading, pros and cons, and they will write the answer.
Right, sir.
But we believe that the idea of introduction should highlight the context of the question. किस context में पूछा गया है question. So that this part we can give some examples, some data, facts related to the criticism.
Example would be best way to introduce this kind of questions, because they are highlighting that there has been some criticism. So that would be good. Now this is a fairly simple question. You just have to write about, discuss pro and cons of a model.
Right.
So you write about PPP model, fairly simple questions, pros and cons.
Right.
That's it. Nothing else to be written. Fairly easy.
Right.
Second question, explain how PPP arrangements in long gestation infrastructure projects can transfer unsustainable liabilities to the future. That means that whatever projects we are making, sometime in longer run, they transfer some liabilities to the future.
Yes.
So in long run, they become unsustainable.
So broad overview, we can say this question is about the sustainability
right, sir.
of the PPP projects, right? Sustainability. So guys, what we are doing, we are just trying to identify the themes. This is a stage one. So each and every question we are going to discuss in the session, right? And this is how we will help you to extract the theme, to understand the context, how, what is the idea of introduction, what is the idea of demand. So I think the third question is?
So for example, examine the development of airports in India through joint ventures under the PPP model. What are the challenges faced by? Simple question. Here we are talking about PPP model, but in a particular sector.
Yes, sector,
so
yes.
This is sector specific. So I'll just write sector specific. In this, I would say that whenever this is the first stage, we are just identifying the theme, but I'll just go beyond and highlight that how you have to think about the general points and you have to think about the specific points.
Right.
This is why sector analysis is important. That you are talking about general and specific.
Okay.
Now we'll start with Gati Shakti Yojana. Needs meticulous coordination between the government and private sector. So focus is here on coordination between the government and private sector. for the goal of connectivity, so that there is more connectivity. This question is more about a particular scheme which is actually addressing the issues which is there.
Yes.
So we will talk about the challenges.
Issues. I think issues with the implementation of triple P projects, and that is what many students are going to miss, because this is a need-based question, right? So we need to first identify what are the gaps in the coordination. What are the gaps in the coordination which Gati Shakti is going to
Right, sir.
address, right?
Right.
So this is the theme.
So we will discuss about this. Last question. PPP requires infrastructure, required in infrastructure projects.
Same
Why?
hai.
So it
sector
becomes
wise.
very easy. Why it is required? You just have to write why it is required. Simple question.
Right.
Now examine the role of PPP model in redevelopment of railway stations. This again becomes a sector specific.
Sector specific.
So here you have to write general. Here you have to write sector specific.
Right.
This simple question, you just write about what is the role of PPP, examine. So you have to examine it negatively, positively, how can be done.
Right.
So this is how you can make sub themes on every PYQs. So
Right.
it becomes easier for you to break it down, to find the dimensions and easily address all
Yes.
these questions.
So let me summarize it. So as far as after going through these previous year's questions, now I'm thinking how I can club all the themes and how I can prepare the index for my notes, right? So यहाँ पे what I'll do, I'll just write down the index for my notes, right? So first I should know the basic concepts of PPP, basic concept, right? भाई सबसे पहले तो आपको पता होना चाहिए ना कि what are the different kind of models are there, right? We have the bot, then we have the EPC, then the combination of both, we have the ham, right? Then we have a boot model. So first we should know what are the basic concept, right? Then the second part, in general we should know, for example, why public partnership required in an infrastructure project. So we should know what are the significance, right? So what are the significance of triple P projects? Third theme which we have identified is the challenges. Now my friend, in your notes, I'm sure you must be having the challenges as far as the triple P projects are concerned. But look at this question. How Gati Shakti Yojana needs meticulous coordination between the government and private sector. So this coordination is the biggest challenge. So within the challenge, there are so many challenges. There are so many challenges as far as the triple P concepts is concerned. But here in this question, UPSC has asked a specific challenge related to the coordination between the private and public entities. So challenges हमको overall भी देखना है, but specific to coordination भी देखना है, right? And next year, maybe UPSC will ask you the question not related to coordination, but it could be related to the finance.
Right.
It could be related to the risk management. It could be anything. So I have got the idea. Now UPSC is focusing on the individual aspect as far as challenges is concerned, right? So we will see everything. Then the fourth part is basically what UPSC is doing, the sector wise analysis. Sector wise analysis मतलब आपको पता होना चाहिए कि किन किन सेक्टर्स में the government is implementing or funding the projects through PPP model, and what has been the result, or we need to basically assess the implementation of PPP model in various infrastructure projects. For example, like railways, ports, airports, right? National highways. So sector wise analysis is also required. Now, the fifth dimension is any scheme. गवर्नमेंट ने कोई स्कीम लॉन्च की है क्या, विच इज गोइंग टू बेसिकली हेल्प टू एड्रेस द चैलेंजेस इन द इंप्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ ट्रिपल पी प्रोजेक्ट, राइट? सो ये 5 थीम्स हो गई हम लोग के पास. इसके अलावा आई एम श्योर, आई डोंट थिंक सो देयर विल बी एनी क्वेश्चन विच यूपीएससी कैन आस्क.
Sir, I think that's how you are going to do it. That sector-wise approach. If you divide what is going on, how can be, what can be done, and if it is done, what will be the benefit? That's how you have to prepare.
Right.
For example, particular scheme, why the scheme is launched, components, and then how it is going to actually address the challenge.
Yes.
and also a particular challenge. Like for example, Gati Shakti addressing the
Coordination वाले,
coordination challenge.
हाँ.
So that's how you are going in depth.
Yes.
That's why framework becomes important, because when you are going into specific points,
Right.
it becomes difficult to generate further points.
Right.
That's why frameworks are needed. So it becomes easier for you
Yes.
to generate points very quickly.
Yes. And after getting the themes, you know what is the most important part which I need to focus on? I know this concept will remain same. This concept will remain same. This will remain same. If there will be any changes, it will be either in the sector wise or challenges. That's it. Right? बाकी चीजें सेम रहने वाली है. So now 80% of the time I am going to focus on what are the various challenges in the implementation of Triple P projects. And one more thing, you need to understand, if there won't be any issue as far as this entire topic is concerned, I don't think so UPSC even will bother to ask the question.
Right, sir.
Right? So that is the reason we see a lot of issue-based question, right, in the paper. So अगर कोई issue, नए challenges ही नहीं होंगे तो ये topic ही irrelevant हो जाएगा. And how would you know whether there are new challenges or not? By linking the current affair.
Right.
That is also we are going to take care. So when we will be discussing these themes, we will also going to link it with the current affair. कि ये link कैसे हो रहा है current affair के साथ? Is there any new challenges evolving in the nature? Is there any new scheme government is launching to address the challenges? Everything is going to be covered in that part. So ये पहला part हो गया theme का. Now, the most important part is the second aspect of answer writing, that is the framework, right? So like Shoaib sir has already explained कि framework से क्या benefit होता है. So Shoaib sir, इस question में क्या framework लग सकता है कोई? What do you think? Because see, my friend, you don't have to think about the content. Answer के बारे में मत सोचो. I just want you to develop the skill कि as soon as you read the question, there has to be a framework within which you have to generate the point. So I want you to think about the framework rather than thinking about the point. आप framework के ऊपर सोचो. Once framework is ready, then we will see how the points can be generated, right? So Shoaib sir, what do you think?
Sir, in the previous slides, we discussed how if we analyze the sub-theme, it becomes easier for us to break down the question.
Right.
This is a question on sub-theme of sustainability.
Right.
So if we can break it down, the sustainable portion, then it will become easier for us to answer the particular question.
So I think I will prefer, rather than sustainability, I will prefer the liabilities.
Right, sir.
Right? This, see my friend, when it comes to, always remember this, when it comes to thinking about the framework, right? There are 3 words I am going to suggest you today. Focus on this always when you are interpreting the demand or structure of the question. One is the tail word of the question. Second is the statement of the question. And the third is the keyword of the question, in the question. Right? So tail word and statement, when we are able to find the scope in the tail word or statement, we get the broad structure कि हमारे यहाँ कितनी सब headings होने वाली हैं answers में. Keywords are important to think about the framework. How? We will see. For example, this is a question. Now I have identified this keyword. What is the keyword? Question क्या बोल रहा है कि explain how the PPP arrangements in the long gestation infrastructure projects can transfer unsustainable liabilities to the future generation. Right? To the future generation, what arrangement needs to be put in place to ensure that the capacities are not not compromised. So question क्या बोल रहा है कि PPP model, on which the government is focusing right now, may transfer the liabilities on the future generation. Now, liabilities means what? Burden, right? So this is the keyword. This liability is the keyword I have find out. I have picked up. Now, this liability, you have to think what kind of liabilities that we are going to transfer to the future generation. It could be fiscal, right? It could be environmental, right? It could be social, right? It could be related to disasters even, governance, related liabilities. So this is the broad framework I am thinking, right? Now, since I have got the broad framework, I can just use one example. And this is how my one-pager note is prepared. This is how my one-pager note is prepared, right? For example, I'll show you. See, these are the broad liabilities. Fiscal liabilities, future payment guarantees, annuities, hidden public debt, financial over-leveraged PPP models, risk allocation, government absorbed commercial demand risk, moral hazard, environmental, social, operational, and then governance. So ये मेरे पास 6 कीवर्ड आ गए. Now I don't have to think how the PPP model are going to transfer the burden on the future generation. So this is the framework. Now don't you think it is so easy to recall, to revise, right? Similarly, last question for the day. The Gati Shakti Yojana needs meticulous coordination between the government and the private sector to achieve the goal of connectivity. Now, गवर्नमेंट सरकार क्या बोल रही है कि गति शक्ति से जो कोऑर्डिनेशन के इश्यूज हैं दैट वी आर गोइंग टू एड्रेस. बट नाउ आई वांट यू टू पिक अप द कीवर्ड. शोएब, which keyword do you think we can pick up here?
Sir, I think that we can pick up the keyword coordination because that is the
very
basic
good
demand of the question.
Yes. So coordination. Now, I think in this question, I don't think you need a very specialized knowledge.
Right, sir.
If you know how the government and the private entities are going to come together to invest in the infrastructure projects, what do you think at what level, what all levels the coordination are required? Again, in the terms of obviously the fiscal to ho gayi. What else? As far as the fiscal coordination is concerned, we can think in the terms of finance, in the terms of risk management, or rather data sharing. Right? Then operational. Right? Then finance, at the finance level we need the coordination, at data sharing we need the coordination, at operational level we need the coordination, right? As far as the risk assessment is concerned, we need the coordination, right? So what level of coordination, that is what you need to think. अब एक चीज ध्यान में रखो, this whenever you see this kind of question, coordination, you can now think about the template. Go and check GS paper 2. You will find lot of question. बहुत सारे question UPSC ने पूछे हुए हैं. Coordination between the agencies.
Right.
Coordination, right? चाहे वो whether it is related to any sector, or I think there was one question related to in GS paper 2 UPSC has asked. It was the coordination among various sectors and stakeholders. It is very vital for the good governance, something like that. So अब आपको पता है कि coordination word can be think at different level. So if it's GS paper 2, we can think in the terms of policy implementation, right, policy evaluation, policy formulation, right? So this is the benefit of developing this kind of habit, right? So don't focus on only rote learning. Rote learning से कुछ नहीं होने वाला, my friends. You have to develop the skill. Without this skill, it is not possible to get a very good rank in UPSC, right? So if you really want to get out of the vicious cycle, this is the only point you need to understand, especially if you are veteran. If your marks are stuck in range, please focus on this part.
So just 1 second, I would like to just add one more point, that this goal of connectivity. So you should also, when you're describing these points, this coordination is the actual demand. So you will describe these sub parts of coordination and then link it to connectivity.
How it will
help in
connectivity.
That connection should be there.
Yes.
And that when you actually write answers, then only this connectivity will be shown.
Yes.
That is why when I said one-pager notes, a lot of people are using, they just see the dimensions, but
right,
they don't find the connectivity. that will only come when you actually write an answer.
Right.
Live answer writing, and then seeing what your problems
Yes.
are.
So
this
is a hidden keyword, I would say.
Right, sir.
Because many students will skip this part. These are the broad aspect of this coordination, but how this coordination between the private and public sectors or entities, how this will help in the connectivity, effect part is missing. जो हमारा मेन गोल है वही मिस कर दिया हम लोगों ने. So this is what I call as a dumping of the data, कि हम डंप कर रहे हैं कंटेंट को विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कोर डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, राइट. सो कनेक्टिविटी के साथ उसको लिंक करना है. दैट इज हाउ यू नीड टू डेवलप द थॉट प्रोसेस, राइट. सो आई होप this is clear. So these are the broad aspects. For example, at institutional level, coordination, financial, technological, policy, operational, strategic, accountability and capacity. So 8 keywords लिख लो अपने one pager notes में. Your notes are done, right? So this is what I actually mean with the framework. So in this exercise, we have learned 2 things. One is how to identify the themes and how to basically develop the skill to generate or to develop the framework for each and every topic, right? Now just imagine how beneficial it is going to be. And we are going to cover all the previous year's question, trust me, for every topic. Your entire syllabus is going to be completed, right? I hope this is clear. So if you have any doubts, if you really want to check whether your answers have framework or templates, you can bring your answers. Like the rankers are there in the team, subject matter experts are there. So you can just fill the form given in the description box and you can show your answers, you can show your notes, you can discuss your problem, your challenges, and then we will see how this program will help you. So I think this is all for today and we'll see you in the next webinar. Thank you.